Welcome back, folks. This is Nicole Johnson Starr, Melissa Maher with the PTSD Retreat Radio Talk Show. We're talking about PTSD service dogs and kids and family and just everything associated with PTSD service dogs. And there is a difference between PTSD service dogs. And just so you know, Melissa and I were talking offline. And for those YouTube folks, I'm sorry I did not have the backup on today, so you don't get to hear that. All those wonderful conversations we have in the background, because I've been teasing her anyway, so you don't need to hear me teasing her. But I was sharing with her, I'm like, my bear has been there for me in the worst of moments, in the times when I don't have someone else, and I'm very, very loved. I am surrounded by wonderful people. I've always lived in communities where people would stop what they're doing. If I asked for help, anyone would do it. But when I'm in my moments, I don't reach out. My dog doesn't care. He tells me, screw it. I'm right here for you whether you want it or not. And by the way, move over because you're taking up way too much bed. You know, that is my dog. And I'm so grateful to him. He doesn't give kisses like normal. Only when I'm like, if I've been gone for far too long or I've been, you know, too busy all day sitting and working, he'll let me know, hey, Mom, get off the computer. Seriously, go get out. Let's go. Let's go walk. Let's go play on the property. Let's go throw a ball. And by the way, you suck right now, so I need lots of love. I mean, but he tells me these things by just coming up and he gives me the big lean. And Melissa, you mentioned before, you know, about how Chauncey will just come and lean on you. He's 96 pounds of a dog. Bear now weighs 120. So I totally get it. Because when he does the lean, my body leans with him.
Oh, yeah. and heaven forbid he's happy to see you and gets a running start.
Oh my gosh. When I had my back injury, Bear and Baby tackled me once because Baby wasn't paying attention. She's only 100 pounds. And it hurt so much. But I'm so grateful Bear did not. But since I've been well, this is how I know I'm well. My dog is actually running into me again. And he kind of leaps up and bumps me. It's funny. He won't jump on me, but he'll leap up and bump me. You know, kind of like the... Say again?
They know.
Oh yeah. And he's amazing. I'm so grateful for him being there, and there's nothing like it. My daughter's awesome. She's my best gift in the world. I would never trade anything. I worked too daggone hard to have that kid. I don't care what doctors say. It's 40 weeks, so it's 10 months, not 9. And she's the best gift, but she's not with me all the time. She has her own life, and I'm so grateful because I don't think I can handle being without all her friends 24/7. Because oh my gosh, did you see that boy? You know, I really don't need that. And my husband, he works. I'm grateful because I don't have to go to get a job. I'm really grateful I get to do the PTSD retreat, which is my passion in life. And Bear is able to be with me 24/7 almost. I haven't pushed taking him into public that often. I've never had a problem when I have, but I haven't, since for the last 2 years, I really haven't had to take him with me. I'm really grateful.
Chauncey and I are inseparable. Since we've been partnered the first week of June, I have left him twice.
Wow.
And that was to go deer hunting. Something I had never done before and wanted to do. Didn't get anything, but it was nice to sit out in the middle of nowhere with nobody around me for a couple of hours.
Where it's absolutely quiet.
Yes. Where I didn't have a cold, wet nose pushing the bathroom door open on me. And
staring at you on the pot.
I mean, I have that from my smaller children anyway, so I mean, I'm kind of used to not having any privacy.
You know, I've given up on privacy because even when I think it's being private, I still have 4 eyes looking at me because I don't just have my dog looking at me. I have my daughter's dog, Baby, who follows Bear everywhere. He raised her, so anything he does, she's got to do. And so when he sits there and looks at me, so does she.
Yeah.
There's no, heaven forbid I'm constipated. That's all I got to say. We'll leave it at that. But There is definitely some comfort, though. I mean, for you, I don't know how it is for you, but for me, I'm so grateful because I know that not only do I have my own personal faith, but I have my dog.
Oh yeah.
So,
You know,
now,
and it doesn't matter. I mean, there's been times where, in 10 seconds after it happens, I realize, okay, that was my fault.
hmm
But I'll snap at Chauncey for something silly. And as soon as I realize it's my fault, and I call his name, he comes right over to me and like, okay, hi mom. What do you want to do now?
yeah.
Like, nothing was ever wrong.
They are so
They
forgiving.
love us unconditionally. They don't question us. And unlike our children, they don't talk back.
Yeah, and unlike my daughter, he won't tell me if my breath really reeks. He loves me anyway. My breath stinks. He's like, gee, new smells. And his farts stink just as bad as mine do.
Their sense of smell is.
I know.
Sometimes it's a wonder that they don't.
I know. Can you imagine? But I mean, even his gas is worse than mine, so he thinks mine is like roses. The only animal on the earth that thinks your farts are roses. But I mean,
Oh, Chauncey has chased us out of classrooms at school.
say that again.
Chauncey has chased us out of classrooms at school. I can always tell when he's gotten into the cat food. He's the rest of the class.
Love them. That's all I gotta say. Love our dogs. Now, I'm gonna ask a question. How did you get your kids to recognize that Chauncey he wasn't just another dog in the house? He wasn't just another kid.
That's the thing. When he's at the house, he is a dog.
Mm-hmm.
He is a 2-year-old golden retriever, run around like he's lost his head in the backyard, get some trouble by trying to sneak the cat food. He's a 2-year-old. And when he is in the house, everybody can love on him, everybody can pet him and play with him and everything else. What was hard for my girl to differentiate, though, is when we are outside the house, and I put Chauncey's vest on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the line is. When his vest is on, he needs to pay attention to mommy. You can't pet him, you can't play with him, you can't, call him and try to distract him or anything like that. He is working. And it took a little while for them to catch on. Oddly enough, it took my 7-year-old longer than my 3-year-old.
Mm. Okay.
But, and especially for kids, it helps to have that visual representation of what the line is.
Yeah.
When his vest is on, it's something they can see. They realize, okay, I'm going to get in trouble with mom if I try to mess with Chauncey right now.
Okay. That actually works. So they have that visual representation. They know exactly that, hey, Chauncey's working.
Yeah.
Okay. But at home.
At home, he is a 2-year-old, runs around the backyard with my kids. On more than one occasion, has forgotten to stop and knock them over.
That's awesome. Okay, so this is good to know because people want to know.
Yeah, I mean, they're dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, we wouldn't work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, stopping only to eat and sleep. We would burn out. Same goes for our service dogs. They need time to just be dogs. New Year's Eve, for the first time ever, I took Chauncey out to the local dog park.
Oh, cool.
Some freaking lake.
Ah!
So I had to put a very wet dog into my car.
Oh!
But he's a dog. Yes, I didn't particularly relish the smell of a wet dog in my car. But he's a dog. What dogs, especially retrievers, do.
You know what? I can actually vouch for that because I take my dogs, and we used to live over, before we bought this farm for turning it into a day retreat, we have a house over in Chesapeake Beach, which is not far from the water. So it seemed like regularly my car smelled like dog. It got so bad where I don't even smell dog anymore because it's like, oh, dog, that's home. So, and I'm grateful. I feel for anybody who hasn't been in my car. If you have not been in my car, you don't have to ride in my car. I promise you. You can walk. So, but yeah, that's awesome that your dog plays. I'm grateful that you recognize that they are a dog. And like
Oh,
us,
yeah.
they deserve breaks.
Oh, yes. Last semester, he knew exactly what time his breaks were between
Ah!
classes. And if the teacher was, was still going towards the end of class, in the middle of class, you hear this.
No way!
He would count in class. They're smart. Unlike any other 2-year-old, they know what they can get away with.
No way! That's hilarious.
It doesn't make any difference how much I try to correct him to be quiet in the classroom when the rest of the classroom laughs.
And feels the same way. That rocks. Bear hasn't done that. I don't think I've talked that long, though he has told me when I'm sitting too long. So I take him when I speak sometimes. I haven't done it lately, but when I've spoken, I've taken him with me. And when I start talking too long, he'll get up and go introduce himself to the to the audience. And that's when I know I've taken way too long to talk.
And of course, everybody else just thinks it's funny.
Yeah, because he's really cute. Blast him. So, yeah.
Chauncey is a major hand. I'm convinced that he has mastered the art of pathetic. Includes muscle control of his lower eyelids.
Oh,
He can
that's
sit there
awesome.
and make those things droop and just look so sad until somebody pays attention to him, and his boy just fine.
Yeah, you know what? Bear has got it down to where he knows if I'm walking out that door, all he has to do, this sucks, because he knows this so well, all he has to do is catch my eye. And wherever I'm going will include a dog in the back seat.
I can't even get anywhere near the door as soon as I start, trying to find my purse or something. Chauncey's already waiting at the door.
Yep, that's Bear. And he is ready to sneak out. And if I try to take him back in the house, he sits next to the car. And he does not care. Yeah, he's not stupid. Baby, on the other hand, is like, oh, a treat? Yay. I'm going to go inside. And I have to seriously bring out the big guns to get my dog to go inside. And he knows it. But, you know what? These are things...
I'm getting something out of this.
And one way or another, he does, and I'm okay with that. Some people would probably be freaking out. I can't believe you let your dogs do that. I actually have a friend who would chew me out if she knew I let my dogs do that. But then again, she trains dogs for a living, so she's doing her job when she gets on me. So I love her for it. But yeah. So I'm really grateful that you were sharing this. It's nice to have someone else who, one has a dog that's whole purpose is to be there for them for their PTSD, because there's no way, I can say this right now without a shadow of a doubt, even with my personal faith, I tell people all the time, I really don't care what your religion is, I do care about your personal faith though. Even with my personal faith and knowing that what I consider my higher power is always there with me no matter what, 10, 20, whatever, I mean to say 10, 27, 24/7, 365. I am so grateful for Bear, because when I came back from Afghanistan and all the stuff that was already beginning to show itself and present itself for me as far as PTSD is concerned, my Bear kept me going. There were days when I had troubles brushing my teeth, and Bear would get me going. He'd make it so I would get outside and get a little bit of that sunlight. Amen for vitamin D. But amen for the blood pounding through his veins to make me go. And
yeah, that's one of the greatest things about the dogs, is the fact that we can't isolate.
No.
We have to at least get up out of bed to open the back door.
Yes. And that's all he needs. That is all he needs. Just that one little moment, and he will...
That's the first time is the hardest.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so grateful for him. And anyone like you said it yourself, he's so much better than any medication you've ever been on.
Absolutely.
It's all natural, less invasive. My mouth is stopping working here.
Much fewer side effects.
Darn Skippy. I can deal with the side effects of my dog. I get loved. I get kisses occasionally, like if I'm really, really good and I behave. I can deal with that. I can deal with that much better than having to go in for possible withdrawal symptoms and other things. So now, I know both of us need to get to bed because it's now getting late, being on East Coast time here. What is something that you recommend to individuals that are considering getting a service dog?
First, talk with your family members. Sometimes there are things that can be done just within your family that can help to mitigate some of the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. And the other thing is to do your homework. Make sure it's something that you really can commit to, because this isn't like going to the pound and, oh, look at the cute puppy, and if things don't work, well, I'll have some bargain to take it to the other farm. This is a commitment for the lifetime of the dog, which can, be 10, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's something that you can commit to, and then do your homework further as to how you're going to come about having a service dog. Especially if you are a post 9/11 veteran that needs a service dog, and you come across a group that claims to be a nonprofit, and they try to tell you that you're going to have to pay X amount of money, check them out thoroughly.
Yes.
Because there are so many nonprofits out there that will do it free of charge, that there's absolutely no reason for you to pay money, especially if you don't have catastrophic physical injuries.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to add one little note on that. Folks, check them out. Don't not just ask them for references, because I don't know if you guys recall, those of you who have been with followers of the PTSD Retreat Facebook page, I had posted how I went up to New Jersey to actually go check out a trainer who said they train dogs for individuals with PTSD. And me being who I am, as you guys know, I make sure that we vet every single organization that wants to use the PTSD Retreat to reach veterans. Not a single one of them are able to post without, being fully checked out, references, and multiple conversations. I went up there, and I got there just as she was being arrested for animal cruelty. And so, please, check out your people. If you are afraid to check them out, or you just don't know what to do to check them out, contact us. Let us know. Use Canines for Warriors. I mean, you're hearing it from another veteran who's used them. You can't get a much higher, reference than another veteran who's saying, hey, this is what they've done for me. That's the best sort of reference. And she's telling you that they're free and stuff, but I will also check them out as well, just to back that up. But ask other veterans. Ask other people who have used them. Ask their clients. Check out these entities, and if you don't have to, don't pay for it. If they're willing to give you the dog for free, but please meet their standards, meet their recommendations, and do not be on your deployment. Do not deploy. While you have a service dog. I've seen what that does to a dog, and it's just not okay. They're there for you. They live to serve you, and the relationship they have with you is something special. Would you concur with that, Melissa, or am I being a little too harsh here?
No, absolutely. Dogs are not meant. They're not, like I said, they're not the little puppies that you pick up at the pound and 6 months later decide, oh, I'm going to have Uncle Rufus take them. This dog gets to know you so well. This dog knows you better than you know yourself. Chauncey knows when I'm going to have a panic attack long before I recognize it. These dogs know us better than we know ourselves, and we learn to depend upon them. This isn't something that you go into lighthearted. I was researching service dogs for several months before I even found Canines for Warriors, and was, I applied for them in the end of January, beginning of February of last year, and didn't get into the school until June. So I had plenty of time to do my homework and decide whether or not this was really something I wanted to commit to. And it is a commitment.
Yeah, and like,
It can be an expensive commitment too.
yeah, food, vet bills, everything, just even getting ready for the dog to come. For Bear, we spent $5,000 right up front because we had to get him healthy and get him up to weight because there was a lot of health issues due to the abuse that he had been in and the neglect.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I was lucky in that aspect on Chocolate. However, within a month of him being home, we don't know if he ate something or just got some stomach bug or what it was. But, when it's 110 degrees outside and your dog is suddenly vomiting and has, liquid diarrhea, it's not time to play around, so to go to the vet.
yeah.
And it wasn't an inexpensive visit either.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's not just the regular shots and everything else. What are you going to do if your dog gets sick?
Yep, exactly. So, but so people, please take that very seriously. And I had something I was going to say, and it just flew out of my head. You guys who have been regular listeners of the PTSD Retreat radio talk show, you know that happens occasionally. So just bear with me. But when it comes to having those service dogs, just remember, do your research. That's what I was going to say. I'm always telling people, do your research. Know what you're going through, know your PTSD, know what options are out there for you, and make sure that you consult with your closest, your support group. Your support group, if you're married, that dog is not just a part of your life. Your family is thoroughly affected because, just to give an example, my husband has to ask permission from Bear whether or not he can sleep next to me. I'm joking. But Bear does take up quite a bit of room occasionally. And John was gone so much he was deployed himself because of the company that he's with, serving the military. And while he was gone, that was Bear's spot. So when John came home, there was a little adjustment. So Bear was like, what are you doing? This is not your spot. So your family is definitely as affected as you are, and so please definitely talk to them. Make sure you're prepared. Talk to a veterinarian. You don't even have to talk to, you can go to Petco. Or PetSmart. They love, by the way, this is not a plug for them because there's no kickbacks from it. It's just because of my experiences with them when I first got Bear and Baby. They had some wonderful individuals that were willing to help me to know, okay, if he's dealing with this, we have some people here who are trained. Now, this is not just the store people. They actually had veterans in there. This is one of the ones that had Banfield attached to it. They were actually able to walk me through and say this type of food is better for him for getting him back up to weight safely because he was about 60 pounds underweight. And they helped me work through a lot of the issues, and they talked to me about the budget on his food and what I could expect for shots. And by the way, I spent about $240 on shots and stuff for my dogs. And I spend $80 a month on food. So just to give you guys an idea who have not had a dog ever, just some of the costs that I know are going to happen. And we've also budgeted about $150 a month away because there's a wonderful thing called the wellness plan with PetSmart where you can actually, it's almost like a medical insurance for the dogs, but it saved us thousands of dollars. We had that just in case something does happen that was unexpected. So there's a lot of costs you deserve to be aware of. Getting their teeth taken care of, getting this disgusting anal glands, because,
And then there's, like, grooming.
Yeah, grooming.
I
Their
have to live in a part
nails.
of the United States where for most of the months out of the year, I can groom Chauncey myself.
Mm-hmm.
But last month, this month, and probably next month, I have to take him down the street. Thankfully, we have a self-service grooming parlor here. I can take him in and pay them to do it, or I can take him in and at least have the elevated bathtub, so I'm not breaking my back to give him a bath.
Nice.
But, costs, you have to consider stuff like that. What kind of breed, what kind of breed is it? Different types of dogs require different types of breeding. Do you have allergies in your family?
Oh, big point. Do not get a service dog without checking out whether or not you have allergies.
there are some dogs, and I hate to call any type of dog hypoallergenic because there is no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog. There are dogs that are much less prone to trigger allergies.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the school had a veteran whose children were highly allergic to dogs, so they found him a poodle lab mix.
Low dander.
The lab for the temperament, the poodle for the poodle for the dander.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I've heard, his children haven't had any problem with it. So, and stuff like that is not necessarily insurmountable. That's something that you would bring up to potential schools.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much to consider, and Google is your friend. I spent countless, endless hours on the internet looking up different things. One of the best sites out there that I've seen is IAADP.org, the International Association of Assistance Partners, or something like that, Assistance Dog Partners. They've got more information on their site than you could ever want to know about service dogs.
Sweet.
But, I mean...
Can you say that again? Say it again. What was...
International Association of Assistance Dog Partners. IAADP.org.
Okay. So that way you guys got that.
The military out there, India, Alpha, and my PTSD brain just kicked in.
Nice. I will tease you about that later. Okay. Okay. Well, so... So there's definitely resources out there for people, and definitely it's a good thing to use Google. And a lot of the times when I'm looking for things for people, I do start with Google. Now, I also tend to go beyond that. I'll talk to cops, and I'll talk to, just anyone that may have information. I've developed some resources for that, so I'm really grateful. I can actually just call people and go, hey, what's this? And they go, Nick, why, glad you asked. So definitely ask questions, talk to people. There are many people out there that are happy to assist you. And by the way, Pets for Vets, you can actually ask them. They will assist you with finding an organization that works for you. So lots of different things out there. And Melissa, thank you so much for being here tonight.
No problem. If your listeners want more information on the program that I got my dog through, again, that's caninesforwarriors.org.
Okay. caninesforwarriors.org, and that's Kilo, the number 9, Sierra, Foxtrot Oscar Romeo, Whiskey Alpha Romeo, India Oscar Romeo Sierra.org. So, darn Skippy. All right, so folks. Say again. Oh, no, because you know what? I can do it right now only because you made a mistake, but the moment I get off, or the next time I'm in front of a big group, like on the 1st, I'll be speaking at the PTSD Symposium over in Florida, and I bet you, I'll be standing up in front of them, and all of a sudden my brain's going to go blank. So I can't tell you how many times that's happened, and it's so embarrassing every single time. I just have to tell them, you know what, I just had a brain fart, excuse me. And just find my notes and move back on. And I normally, when speaking, I don't have notes because I like to make eye contact with people. So, and I like to move around, and when I'm moving around, I can't carry my notes with me. So don't feel bad about your Delta, because I'll be going Whiskey Tango Foxtrot later on. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, and if I ever have questions, I know exactly where to go, and I just really appreciate you being an advocate for service dogs and for these programs, because as an individual with PTSD, I value my dog. He's priceless to me, and he's starting to get up there in age, which is really kind of sad, because he's a mixed breed between Newfoundlands and Black Labs. They don't have a long lifespan, and he's coming to the end of that. He's starting to have those hip issues.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how I'm going to handle that. But he's my boy, and I'm so grateful for him being here. And people need to know that service dogs are very important, and the VA really does need to be paying for them because they work. They're cheaper than meds, by the way. If you want to think about the cost to the government, it's cheaper than meds.
Oh, yeah.
So,
even if all they pay for is what they were originally proposing, which is, one vet visit a year, the VA was never going to pay for procurement of the service dogs or the training of the service dogs. So, I mean, even if they just went back to what they originally proposed, which is, minimal vet care,
yeah,
that's better than nothing.
Yeah, I could go on and on about, how important it is for us to have dogs and how important it is that they do provide that, but it's obvious. To me, that is an obvious duh, and everybody that's struggling with PTSD, if drugs should be the last resort, because it's putting a Band-Aid on a hole. It's like, hey, let me go get you. Oh, you have a sucking chest wound? Let me go get this tiny little butterfly Band-Aid for you. Yeah, that doesn't really work, folks. No, and if you still have this, and even if you got the proper cover for it, you still have a sucking chest wound. It has to have some care. So, it doesn't need a Band-Aid. But anyway, that's just personal opinion. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox before I even get started, because otherwise, Melissa, you and I will be on here all night. So, to everybody that's listening, thank you so much for listening. This has been Nicole Johnson-Starr and Melissa Maher. If you guys want to follow up with Melissa Maher, she's got an awesome blog with wonderful authors on fightingptsd.org, and I encourage you to go there, because you're not just listening to someone just spout stuff. You're actually talking to somebody, and I say talking to because the way the authors are writing on there, it feels like a conversation. And I appreciate that as an individual, because I don't like reading textbooks.
We also have a spouse of a Marine.
That's right, she's a Marine wife, and she says she's part-time blogger and full-time crazy life, if I recall the words, for when she's talking. Anyone who could, that tells me that's someone who gets it. So, you got people who get you, and you've got a community of support here with the PTSD retreat. There's other resources, and these are not government resources, so you don't have to be afraid about, people getting a hold of your name. You can actually go there and just read and just connect with these individuals who are sharing their own stories, their own experiences, and learn something from them. And so, please go to fightingptsd.org. She's also got a link there to K9 for Warriors. You do still have that link, right? I haven't been on your page for a little bit. She does have that link to K9 for Warriors, and also some other links on there as well. And I encourage you to go. You can also go to the PTSD retreat, so the www.theptsdretreat.org, or you can go to our Facebook page, and our Facebook page is filled with other veterans, family members, and loved ones who are and individuals whose PTSD is not combat related or even military related. So, not all trauma is military related. Trauma is trauma is trauma. It is the most equal opportunities in this country. Matter of fact, our politicians can learn from PTSD, because it really doesn't care where you're from, what your demographics are. Anyone can have PTSD. That's as political as I'm going to get. So, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being with us, and I look forward to talking with you guys. So please leave us your messages at support@theptsdretreat.org. And again, this is Nicole Johnson-Starr. I'm Melissa Maher. Have a good evening, and this has been good night. This has been the PTSD Retreat Radio Talk Show.